Hi, my name is Rob Boss, and I'd like to welcome you to this episode of The Joy of Space Stationing. You know, I've been a fan of space stations for about as long as I can remember. I especially like seeing how an early concept like this can end up evolving all the way to the International Space Station that we have flying over our heads today. Now, to all my fellow space enthusiasts, I'd like to show you how you can use common household items to build your own space station in the comfort of your home. I think today we'll do things a little bit simple. We're going to make ourselves a Lunar Gateway station. The Lunar Gateway is a space station NASA plans on using as a base camp for their upcoming Artemis moon missions. For quite a few years, NASA focused on building and maintaining a space station in low Earth orbit, but began to take a more serious look at a station in lunar orbit from the early 2010s onward. Initially, the idea was to build using leftover International Space Station modules, but over time the decision was made to design all new and modern modules, which have been rearranged and redrawn as different space agencies sign off from their respective contributions. One module that's been pretty consistent throughout, however, has been the Power and Propulsion Element, or PPE, and it's what we'll be building today. This guy was originally supposed to be an independent spacecraft used to intercept and take samples from a passing asteroid as part of the asteroid redirect mission, but in 2017, its mission shifted to become the main source of power for the station, as well as using its boosters to change the station's orbit whenever needed. NASA plans for the PPE to be the starting foundation for the Lunar Gateway, so it's only fitting that we start our build here. So, before we go any further, let's list some of the supplies and tools you'll need to build this at home today. So the first thing we're going to do today is take our sheet of cardboard and cut out 4 rectangles measuring 2 inches by 3 1/4 inches, and 2 squares measuring 2 1/8 inches on each side. Once we've done that, we're going to take ourselves some super glue, and we're going to line up, and then we're going to glue together each one of our rectangles, going from edge to side, going in a spiral motion around. And you may want to use a little bit of a hot glue gun on the interior to really shore it up a little bit, make sure it's good and strong. And there we go. So you can see the spiral pattern we have here. So this makes sure that it's the exact same size on each side. So now we're going to take our 2 squares and we're going to glue them into place at the end of our box. And so once that's done, we have ourselves the base of our power and propulsion element. Now, if we measured things right, it should come out to 3 1/2 inches long by 2 1/4 inches wide. And this is using 1/8 inch cardboard, I should point out. So if you have a cardboard sheet that is using something a little bit different, you may want to adjust your measurements a bit. Next, we're going to take some sheets of aluminum foil, and we're going to cut out 4 rectangles that are 3 1/2 inches long by 2 1/4 inches wide. And then we're going to glue them onto the 4 lengthwise sides of our station. This is going to reflect the, reflective panels that are going to be in place to make sure that all of our special electrical components inside and fuel are protected from the coldness of space. Make sure it's glued down nice and flat. Looking good. Now, I'm going to take the caps of 2 water bottles and I'm going to hot glue them down to either end of our box. These are going to be our connection points so that we can add on more modules to our station. Make sure to press it down nice and flat. And you may want to add in a little bit of super glue afterward around the sides to make sure that it stays in place. Now I think it's time to do a little bit of painting. We could put some aluminum foil on the ends here, but I want to mix things up a little bit color-wise, so I'm going to take some gray paint and just make sure that both sides of our station are painted. And there we are. You can choose if you want to paint the inside of your docking module connection, but I'm not going to worry about that today. The next thing we're going to do is start building our solar panels. So cut out 2 more cardboard squares, measuring 2.5 inches wide by 6.5 inches long. And then we're going to take 2 sheets of aluminum foil that we're going to wrap our cardboard in. And these are going to measure 5.5 inches wide by 6.5 inches long. So we're going to take each thing of cardboard and we're going to place it inside our tin foil, and then we're going to just simply wrap it around it. You can use a little bit of tape to hold it in place to make sure it's not sliding around, and just fold it over like you're making a little quesadilla. Now we're going to take a strip of electrical tape and we're going to lay it along the side to hold the edge of our tin foil in place. Do the same for the other side to make sure that they match. Don't want it to be unbalanced. And then another strip right down the middle on each side. There we go. Put a little one along the top there, close things off. And then you can take wire rod and place 2 last little strips along the side to close out the bottom. There we go. Now we're going to take a ruler and a butter knife, and we're simply going to make some very, very gentle light marks going in a grid pattern to make it look like we have ourselves a little solar panel. Again, want to be very gentle with this, don't want to rip it. And we'll just do that for each side and for both of them. Now it's time to add on our solar panels to our station. So we're taking a rod that's about 17 inches long, and you're going to fit it inside our cardboard and then run it through the station. Poked a hole earlier to make it a little bit easier. Add the other solar panel to the other side. And that electrical tape should keep it from popping out the other end. Arrange it. There we go. And then I'm going to take 2 little pieces of cardboard, and I'm simply going to glue it around my wire rod right up against the box to make sure that my solar array isn't sliding around. Because we want it to rotate in place, but we don't want it to shift back and forth too much. So we're just simply going to do that on both sides of the box. Again, make sure that we're gluing the cardboard to the rod and not the station itself. There we go. Now our station's still going to need some thrusters to move it from place to place, so I'm going to take a soda straw and cut a few segments measuring 1/4 inch each. And if you'd like to get a head start on the later module, make sure you cut out 8 of these guys. And then we're going to paint them up, and just simply use whatever color you like. I'm using gray here today. And then go and let them dry. Now, once those are good and dry, we're going to super glue them to one end of our station, and we're simply going to do it at the 4 corners right here. So, a little dab of super glue on one end, and press it down, and let it set. Three down, 1 to go. And there we go. Now, just to add in a little bit of extra decoration, I'm going to make a little bit of a satellite dish to add onto my station so it can communicate with Earth. So I'm going to take a little toothpick here, get a dab of super glue, and press it onto just a little chunk of painted cardboard that I cut out. There we go. And then we're going to take the front of our box, carefully arrange it, don't want to snap off our straws. And then we are going to super glue our toothpick down to one end of the station, like so. There we are. And just like that, we have ourselves our power and propulsion element. I think I'll call this done today. You, of course, more than welcome to add on your own bits to it, but this is just to give you an idea of some of the things you can do to make yourself a nice, lovely module. Off you go, little guy. And just like that, we're well on our way to creating a little space station. Although, all the power in the world isn't going to help our astronauts without a place to hang their head for a sleep or have a snack, so I hope you'll join me next time when we design our habitation module. Until then, happy building. Take care, my friends.